Yep. YouTube intro. Welcome back to part 2 of the EZ30 swap on the Forester. We're going to start this video off by going to the junkyard, and we're going to be doing some test fitting with some radiators, because obviously this radiator is not going to be the one that we want to use. We're going to get into a couple other things this video too, probably jumping into the wiring, showing you a little bit more of that, and maybe putting some interior stuff back together. So might as well just follow along with the gang. I don't know how to be a YouTuber. We made it. Did find a B9 Tribeca over here. See if the double radiator thing is the same size, because these ones could be possibly taller. We're gonna try and see if we can shove this into a different chassis. There's a different compressor on it too.
Wait, where does this? That's for the filler neck.
Oh, so this one doesn't have.
It's
No, it doesn't too. Just one.
Oh, they're just on top of each other.
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess that maybe that's why people end up running the legacy Outback ones versus this specific one from the B9 Tribecas. So we found this SG. This is actually a 4-cylinder radiator out of an Outback, and we just set it in here just to see, because I mean, if it fits the Outback, we're assuming that the 3-liter one just has the different ports on the top. The only thing that doesn't really line up is obviously this mount, because that's where it would go on the original radiator, and then this one lines up with that little tab there. So I mean, you can find a mounting situation for over here, but this seems like this will work just fine. It's a little bit skinnier, lines up with all the mounts, so I think we're on to something with at least the 3-liter Outback legacy radiators fitting in an actual SG. Subarus are just big boy Legos, so I think we're on to something. Continue to look to see if we can find any 3-liters anywhere in here, but if not, then I think we can do this, because I mean, we now know that this radiator fits, so we can look at the dimensions of this radiator comparative to the 3-liter one, and then kind of go from there. This will give us our fill port on the radiator comparative to the turbo Subaru Forester one, where the fill is on the expansion tank. So I think this is gonna be kind of our route. Walking through here, saw that on the ground and this. Then I came back here, I was like, whoa. Homeboy had the starry headliner where he did all the work to it. That kind of sucks. No luck, no 3.0s, but we did see that one radiator. So I think we're gonna go off on the dimensions on like the 06 era radiators, and then see if the 3.0s are matching. And then
try another junkyard close to us first.
we're gonna go one more place just to see, but no luck here. Round 2. We're at another one. 3.0 somewhere. Ah, shit. Here we go again. This junkyard has a lot of like newer stuff. Like, I mean, like there's a new Camaro and stuff like that. So hopefully we can find something that has a 3.0 or 3.6 in it. We had no luck at the second junkyard. So we are going off the assumption of the legacy radiator that we had tried in the Forester. If the radiator is the same size, which it has to be because it's in that chassis, we're going to use that assumption. It's gonna fit. So we're gonna get one of those. We just wanted to try it before committing to doing something that we didn't know was gonna fit or not. But we did get a couple bits. Steven opted to go with a BRZ steering wheel for this vehicle. It's a little bit smaller and it's in better condition and a better shape and stuff, so he's swapping that one out. And then we also had a window regulator that we had to steal out of this rig, so we got that. Start kind of messing probably with some wiring and stuff now. The wiring diagram that we have access to actually doesn't show this junction connector, it just shows like an example of like an injector straight to the ECM. So we made a key essentially where all of these wires, and we pinned them out and wrote it all down for what pin and what color for certain sensors like the map, the injectors. We made our own key so we can go with that and make our own harness that will go to the Haltech. A lot of the front of the interior just for the moment, just so we can have access to the OE harness that is here, so we can back probe and do anything that we need to do and look at diagrams to steal the signals and anything off of the OE harness that we need, such as like the AC command, the signals to the fan relays, and a couple other stuff that we're going to utilize the stock wiring for. Steven is throwing on that new wheel because the old one was a little crusty. As you saw in the last one, this car is kind of in shambles. It's going to be kind of a fun one. Mostly everything has to come out so then we can reinstall the carpet, but kind of waiting on what we want to do with the wiring and make a game plan there. But that's kind of where we're at. Our thing that we built with the harness, we actually found some of the information through our all data stuff for the wiring, and so far it is lining up from our testing that we did actually on this connector. Back probe like all of these two where they went, it's including this little one. So far from what we had found through our all data stuff, it seems to be lining up so far. So the JDM EZ30, with our testing and what information we can find, seems to have the same wiring, color, layout, pin location, and everything as the USDM one, because that's what information we have through our all data comparative to what we had found. So if anybody's ever curious, it should be at least as close as possible. That's broken, don't worry about that. So after messing with the taper on this, and this goes on awesome, but the thing that we're dealing with is the cruise control switch that's on this is a 2-wire versus the OEM one is a 3-wire. It's a different plug, but we're going to be able to utilize what the Haltech can do, because according to the FRS wiring diagram, it is a resistance based thing. So your cancel has a certain amount of resistance, and when you click that, we can essentially map it in the ECU. So when the ECU sees that certain resistance, it does a certain action. I had to do the same thing because the base tune file thing that I had for my Haltech after for the street tune that we had did the same thing and was set up for a different style cruise switch. So we were able to go into the Haltech and actually train it to see certain resistances to allow for certain actions. So that's just one thing that we were figuring out, kind of making a game plan. We're going to try to essentially remove as much of this as we can and utilize the original grommet. We also found in the wiring that there shared power between the injectors. Like the power that goes to the injectors also powers the throttle body and the purge valve and a couple other things. So we're just kind of trying to get our bearings and figure out what our game plan is with all of this. It will be very much a custom wiring thing, but with the Haltech, I'll pull this out, it gives you plenty of options when it's already pinned to the two connectors and that go into the Haltech themselves. They haven't heat shrinked anything for us, just in case if we need to remove pins or move some around, if we make some little bit of errors doing some stuff. But this will give us all of like the shielded grounds that we need for, crank signal. So we're going to start with this and figuring out how we want to lay some stuff out. We also have the ECM in here as well, and we will get to that after messing with the steering wheel. But we're making kind of a game plan where we want to land with this stuff. We'll update you as we kind of make our own harness plan. That works now. So we got all of this system in. This is a brand new OEM STI master. We took the OEM cable, got that routed, and then we got a Goodrich stainless braided clutch line that goes to the OEM one. We are working on finishing the first connector for wiring. Skylar's been burning all these in. We're trying to figure out how we want to do our heat shrink shielding cover bullshit for that. End up probably having to depin one of these and slide it over and or get a split loom, but we're making some progress. We actually have a working clutch system now, which is awesome. We shielded and kind of loomed this up a little bit for the trans wiring. Got that all back done. We did a little bit up here as well, just to try to get the AC stuff all on the original charge harness. This originally was a little connector, but this connector is different. So we just made our own little ground straight to the compressor itself. Did our little commands to that. This will have to be removed and then unplugged if you ever want to remove the engine or the compressor itself. But it's not too big of a deal. The original charge harness actually has the same alternator plug, it's just like the same alternator, just where this peg is located on an angle is kind of how that is between the EZ and the EJ. But we're making some moves. We're gonna try to keep cranking out the rest of these. Our pile of spaghetti is growing for all the extra stuff, because I mean our harness is going from there to there, so we have a lot of extra that we're not going to end up using. But we're making some moves on it, trying to crank out all the little systems. We're testing some wiring for the reverse switch. I'm going to see if this actually lights up the tail lights. Go for it. Yep. It seems like it works. After a couple days of really grinding on it, we completed our wire harness. We ran everything through the OEM grommet straight to this plug, and this is all the wires from the Haltech. In this one as well, this one kind of had more of the important stuff, so like the shielded wires for like crank and cam and knock sensor stuff. We have a few things kind of flying right now. This will end up going to a aftermarket oil pressure sensor, which is down on the bottom of the block by the oil cooler. This will be for an IET, which will go right in this port, because this car will be essentially run on like speed densities, because there's gonna be no MAF. We have a couple other things kind of floating around. So this is a ground that goes into the original wiring harness for the actual engine itself, and goes to the chassis ground, which is right over there. This will be used for the CAN network, because this is the CAN high, CAN low. This will be a ground for it. This will be a positive. This will go to a connector, which will go to the wideband controller, because that's what we're going to need for this. Power ground, CAN high, CAN low. That'll control both of the widebands, which will end up being one in each bank. And then I already showed this a little bit earlier, which is just our trans harness kind of speed signals and stuff like that we utilized a couple of the OEM wires for, but there it is. We're going to utilize the OEM charge harness for this vehicle. Same thing for the starter, which put back in. But for essentially engine control from the Haltech itself, we're done. We're gonna wait to loom this until we can confirm, so we can test and everything. So now we are on to the chassis side of wiring, where we have a lot of stuff gonna come through here. We need to steal some of the original wires from the original harness. We need to take a lot of these extra ones that we pulled through from the harness, from the Haltech harness, and either get rid of them or pin them back in to this. We need to mount the Haltech. We need to mount the IC7. We need to run a few wires between the IC7 and the Haltech, because the IC7 is going to act as a PDM for us, because we're running out of IOs that can go straight into the Haltech itself. But after that, it is kind of finish up some engine stuff so it can run, and then finish putting together the interior. So that's where we're gonna leave it for this one. We got most of everything engine side, control side, all finished up, and we are going to start working on interior stuff, but we're gonna leave that for a whole nother video. So tag along with us. Thank you for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, We'll see you in the next one.